This is a HeadGum podcast.
Thanks for tuning into this Black Girl Nerds podcast extra. My name is Jamie. I am your host. The following is a one-on-one interview that I had with the founder of Blerd City Con. Her name is Clariesa Clay, and she talks about everything this con has to offer the community. It's going to be happening soon in Dumbo, Brooklyn, New York City, New York. And I think you're going to enjoy this one. We talk about the different panels that the con is having, what the word blerd means, how this word has evolved over the last 5 years, and the importance behind Blerd City Con. Why was this created, and what does this space have to offer us in the community? So sit back, relax, and enjoy this BGM podcast extra. Clariesa Clay, Blerd City Con. Welcome to this Black Girl Nerds podcast extra. My name is Jamie. I am your host. Very happy to bring to you a guest who is creating a convention. You know, conventions are things that we attend all the time. I myself am creating a convention along with the Black Geeks, and I'm really excited to talk to Ms. Clariesa Clay, who is the founder and creator behind Blerd City Con, which is coming to a con near you. If you're in New York City, check it out. It's going to be at the end of this month, and we're going to go over all of those details on dates and times and learning more about what this con has to offer our community. So, Clariesa, thank you so much for being on the Black Girl Nerds podcast.
Oh, no problem at all.
No problem. So, Clariesa, thank you for coming on our show. Really appreciate it. I want to start by asking the most obvious question, and there may be 2 or 3 people that happen to stumble onto this podcast that don't know the answer to this, but can you let our listeners out there know what is a blerd?
Yes, I define it as a Black person plus being a nerd, and I flipped the definition. Like they have the definition, like if you look up for a nerd, that's someone that's awkward and everything else. No, we're not awkward. We're very much into our being, and that we project a lot of different things as being very self-confident and knowledgeable in a lot of areas. So I want to flip that kind of definition.
But I'm awkward too, so I think there's awkward nerds as well.
No, there's a celebration of awkwardness, but it's not as I meant like as a negative connotation that sometimes it has. Instead of celebrating like a difference or a uniqueness, it's not thought of as that way. That's what I was trying to talk about.
Okay. So for you, your definition of blerd is someone who's Black and who's a nerd, and they're into all different kinds of things, but they're not necessarily awkward. They're someone that's, you know, into things that are unique and not maybe a part of the status quo of what you would think people of color are into.
Correct. And it's how they sometimes, like in interviewing or seeing a person, that they project a stereotype on that person instead of seeing the many different kinds of interests or being that could be. They just project a stereotype or some kind of ism onto that person. And like for myself, when people find out like I'm into chess, you're like, oh my goodness, they don't equate that with that being with me. And it's like, yes, and I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think that's really cool because, you know, our community is a community that is so vast, and there's so many different aspects of the African diaspora, and a lot of us through podcasts like Black Girl Nerds and through works like yourself with Blerd City Con, you're really trying to expand and amplify and highlight those voices that don't really get recognized a lot. in mainstream media. So I want to talk more about what you have to offer with Blerd City Con, but back to the word blurred. When did you first find out about that term? When did you first hear the word blurred?
I think it was a couple of years ago. I wanted to, I do film programming also, and I saw this exhibit at the Studio Museum. I hadn't heard about Afrofuturism, but seeing the vastness of the Afrofuturism exhibit at the Studio Museum of Harlem, I was like, I would like to program films on dealing with Afrofuturism. It didn't work out like 2 years ago, and I was like, okay, let's table that and just come back to it, like maybe you want to do a conference with it. And I was researching, and then I stumbled across the word blurred. I was like, that's you. I was like, that defines you so well. I was like, it's just an all-encompassing word that fits all my different sides. That is the best way of saying it.
That's awesome. Where did you find the word blurred? What were you reading that you stumbled upon the word?
I don't remember. I was reading, it's like I was just doing an internet search on different films, and I guess I was reading someone's article, and it was a word the word was embedded in it, and I was like, what's this word? And and then I looked it up, and I was like, okay, that definition, that's you. That's 100% you.
That's awesome. I mean, our first podcast here at Black Girl Nerds was the word blurred. Like, what is a blurred? What does it mean to you? And I remember back in 2012 when I created this site and this online community, that when I started using the word blurred on Twitter, people were like, what's a blurred? I don't like that word. Why do we have to be so divisive? Like, there was some antagonism out here in these Twitter streets towards the word blurred. But now, over the course of 5 years now, people have really embraced the term, and they're wearing it on T-shirts, and people are developing film projects with the word blurred. People have got their Twitter handles with the name blurred, and now we've got Blerd City Con. So I'm really happy that the term has gotten such a great positive response over the course of 5 years now, as opposed to when I first heard it and people were really kind of like, I don't like this word, and I don't like what this stands for, because I was trying to combat a lot of folks online and say, hey, this is about community. This is about us fostering relationships and finding one another. It's not a way of being divisive. So just really happy to see how it's grown and resonated with so many people over the years.
Oh, I thank you for that work. That's warrior work, because that's putting something in front of some people that are uncomfortable to watch them grow to comfortability. That's warrior work. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you for Blerd City Con and what it has to offer folks. Can you talk a little bit about it? What inspired you to create this con?
Started from the film, wanted to do an Afrofuturism film program, because I like doing that stuff, showing films to audience that may not have seen it or know about it. That's always an interest. And then it blossomed to, wait a minute, this word is you, and you're going to show multi-facets of you. Mm-hmm. Blerd City Con is just like almost like a mirror image of myself. There's a panel on it's called The Last Dragon, Black Folks and Martial Arts. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm a person that when I was younger, that's like, in New York City, it's like Channel 4 or 5 would show karate films, and like basically everybody ran home at a certain time so they could go watch it, and then we'd come back outside and start talking about it. Mm-hmm. And that love of Kung Fu movies never went away. Never went away. I still, I think the director name is Zumi Yang. Most people know him for doing the Chinese the Chinese Olympics, like the opening where you have all those flying people and those colors and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of work he does. And I was like, that's an aspect of me. I've studied Tai Chi. My Tai Chi instructor also had me on the sword. So it has blossomed to many different levels. So that's how the panel showed up. I like activism. So I have a right to die, right not to die, imprisonment from birth to death. So besides Ava DuVernay's 13th documentary, I think it's something that we need to talk about as a community, about incarceration, about police brutality, about everything that's affecting us, about the prison system. Because the 13th Amendment affects us as how the law is still being oppressive to the Black community. So there's a panel on that.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's what I love about these, types of cons and these panels that are created out of a need to also highlight some of the marginalized issues that are so pressing in our community, like what's happening with the prison industrial complex, and talking about those issues, but then also geeking out at the same time and talking about, comic books and gaming and Afrofuturism and all of those cool things. So that's what I really love about the Blerd community, is we can talk about social justice issues and then geek out, over pop culture fandom stuff at the same time.
Correct. And I'm loving it. I like, we have Black Gotham. His name is Camus. Just saw a podcast that he was doing. Basically, he was dissecting and analyzing Jay-Z's story of OJ, the new video that just dropped. And it was like, that's what I'm talking about. That is exactly a nerd geek out moment where we need to talk as a community about this. How is the the images, the different levels, and I was like, wow, I need that in a conference.
Yeah.
And immediately asked them to be on board. Yes, those I like when we do community talks. It's like they sometimes demoralize that we are on the corner, but I love to see brothers and sisters talking and dissecting about what's happening in the community, and then also what, as you just said, a geek out moment. I need to talk about Pokemon, and then it's like, oh, that's not strange or different. Yes, we're going to do we're going to go from that point to Pokemon to back to the next point, and it's all us, it's all me, it's all you.
Nice, that's amazing. So for folks out there that are like, okay, Blerd City Con, Black nerd, I don't feel like maybe that this con is going to be inclusive for a person like me that's not a Black person or not a person of color. What would you say to those folks?
That's always a hard question, because you want to say that we're inclusive, that we're not being divisive or anything like that. I myself, when I go to another con, that's not a question that I'm asked, like, why are you going to New York Con? I'm just interested. And it's just like, if you're just interested, just come. That's what we usually do.
That's a beautiful answer. I really love that. And you're right. Like, for us as Black folks, we go to New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con, and those are very white spaces, but we're never asked, oh, well, why are you here as a person that's a person of color or a Black person? But I think it's important to have niche spaces like this that are supportive, that help uplift, and are safe spaces where, a lot of us don't really feel like we belong sometimes at a lot of these different cons. So that's a great answer. I really appreciate you diving into that. What do you hope to accomplish with Blerd City Con?
Oh, that the participants, when they come, that they see an array of, or basically like a pushback, or like a soft pushback of like, just images that are uplifting, positive images, and one that we do not celebrate, and particularly in the intellect, with the science, with sci-fi, and a few other areas. That's what I want the person to take away with. That, oh my God, there's a wealth of people in the African diaspora community that are not fitting the stereotypical image that I see in media.
Yeah. And I can't stress enough that this particular con is deeply rooted in the African diaspora. So you are talking about the Black experience in a lot of these panels, which is important because it's called Blerd City Con, which the portmanteau term is Black nerd. So I'm just looking at the different panels that you're offering: Afro Past and Afro Future. You've got one called Blerd Food Justice. Can you talk about that one?
Yes. Yes, that is talking about what's happening in our community. Like, we were talking about the food desert. We were talking about that I was talking to a teenager, and he's like, yeah, when I go out my door, there's only like really bad food. There's no good food here. And I was like, yes. And I knew that was like a spark to have like a panel to further discuss, to see how we can empower ourselves. What else is out there? What is beyond just to say what we can do in our community, and where else in other places that we can like empower ourselves to have better, food, because we have a high rate of diabetes, heart attacks, yes, in our community. So we need, and that stems for food and lack of quality food.
And that's really good to point out, being that you guys are in New York City, because I've seen so many news stories and documentaries about how it's so easily accessible to go to a place that's got fast food and food that's very unhealthy, as opposed to going to grocery stores that have organic products and whole foods and things like that. So that seems like that's going to be a super interesting panel. And then one other panel that you are offering at Blerd City Con is called Black and K-Pop, Appropriation or Appreciation, which that is very interesting, especially for us here in the Black Girl Nerds community, because we've written countless editorials about the K-pop scene, and how sometimes there's this weird fine line with what's considered appreciation or appropriation. So what do you guys plan on talking about at that panel?
Basically how K-pop and a few other areas are, like anime and manga, can have can have images that it may seem on the surface okay, but when you dive into it, it's not okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that one character from Dragon Ball Z, Mr. Popo or something like that. I'm just like,
yes.
Yeah, that's a problem. So yeah, I mean, this is really fantastic.
But oh, thank you. And it's like, even to see, like, walking down the street and seeing the shirt with the images on, and you look up at the person, then you look back down to the shirt, and then you look up to, it's like, that's offending me, but you don't even know that's offending me, and I don't know if to say something to you or not. Yes.
So Blerd has been highlighted in Essence magazine, to NPR, and again, that's fantastic, because 5 years ago, people didn't even know about the term or rejected it when they saw it. But where do you see Blerd subculture going in the next 5 years?
Hopefully to other countries and other parts of the United States, to show celebrating the nerdiness in us. So we'd like to bring that to different communities around the world.
That's excellent. Yeah, I know it's Definitely caught on to a lot of folks in the UK. Some of our largest followers of BGN are folks based out in the UK. So it's definitely become international for sure. And even folks that are in different countries in Africa. So it's really great that it's catching on. So tell us where BlerdCon is and what dates can we check it out for our listeners that want to see what this is all about.
Yes, we have a Facebook page, Blerd City. There's an Eventbrite where you can go to Blerd City and see the schedule. We're going to be in the Dumbo section that's down under the Manhattan and Brooklyn Bridge in Brooklyn, where it's just like, another aspect is to have like, even though you're going to these panels and workshops and films and seeing writers and of horror, sci-fi, and fantasy, that is like a little staycation. It's by water. There's a carousel there. So I want you to feel like you went to a semi-vacation. So it's in 5 venues in Dumbo.
That's fantastic. And I believe there's going to be a Black Girl Nerds panel at Blerd City Con. Definitely. I was just informed.
Yes. Valley Complex is putting that together. So, yes, definitely BTN is going to be in the house.
Excellent.
So excited.
Yeah. Well, this is great. I'm very excited for Blerd City Con. I'm really excited for your success in making this happen, and that this event is going to be taking place in New York. I wish I was there. All the good things happen in New York. I hate you guys. One day, if I can afford it, one day I may move back there. But yeah, Blerd City, it really sounds like this is going to be a fantastic space, a safe space, and a space where people can learn a lot about different aspects of our community, from sci-fi, fantasy, horror, to Afrofuturism, to dating. There's a dating panel. There's area for kids. So those of you out there that's got kids, this is a family-friendly con. So it does sound like it's offering so many different things to so many different kinds of folks. And Clariesa, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. Any other projects that you're working on, or anything else that you want to shout out before we go?
After this, it will probably be that I'll go back to doing like a small documentary. So that's my next project, and video installation. So that'll be next.
Fantastic. And where can people find you on social media, and also where they can go on the web to find out about Blerd City Con?
Thank you. www.blerdcityconference spelled out, .com. They could go on Facebook to Blerd City, and Instagram at Blerd City, and Twitter. We also got Blerd City.
Blerd City Con, everyone. Check it out.
That was a HeadGum podcast.